The lawyer stopped reading halfway through the sentence. The room went silent. I looked up from my untouched glass of water just as his eyes lifted from the papers in front of him. Then he cleared his throat. "Before we continue," he said carefully, "there appears to be an amendment to the Whitmore family trust." My Uncle Victor leaned back in his chair confidently. "Then read it," he said. The lawyer hesitated. I noticed it immediately. The discomfort, the tension, the tiny crease forming between his eyebrows. And then he said the words that changed everything. "Elena Whitmore has been removed from the inheritance entirely." For a second, I thought I had misheard him. The air in the room thickened. My cousin Sophia slowly looked away. My aunt froze with her wine glass halfway to her lips. And Uncle Victor smiled. Not a shocked smile, not a confused one, a satisfied one. I sat perfectly still in my chair. The massive dining room around me suddenly felt too small, too warm, too quiet. Outside the mansion windows, rain hammered against the dark glass. Inside, no one looked at me. Not one person. Like they had expected this. Like they already knew. I swallowed slowly. There has to be a mistake. The lawyer adjusted his glasses nervously. The amendment was signed 3 months ago by Arthur Whitmore himself. My grandfather, upstairs, dying. A cold feeling crawled up my spine. 3 months ago, Grandpa had stopped answering my calls. 2 months ago, Victor told me Grandpa was too weak for visitors. 1 month ago, my messages stopped being delivered entirely. And now this. I looked directly at my uncle. "You told me Grandpa asked about me every day." Victor sighed dramatically like I was embarrassing him. "Elena, don't do this tonight." "Do what?" "Cause a scene." My hands curled beneath the table. "Cause a scene." That was always their favorite phrase whenever I got too close to the truth. I laughed quietly. A broken little sound even I barely recognized. "You erased me." "No one erased you," Victor replied smoothly. Grandfather simply reconsidered the trust. "Why?" Silence. Then Sophia muttered without looking up. "Because you disappeared." My head snapped toward her. "Excuse me?" "You stopped visiting," she whispered. I stared at her in disbelief. For 6 months, I had shown up at this house every single week. Every single week. And every time, the staff told me Grandpa was sleeping, or sick, or confused, or unavailable. Once, I waited outside for 3 hours in the rain, hoping he would come downstairs. He never did. Now I understood why. Victor folded his hands calmly. "You upset him, Elena. Your lifestyle, your instability, the constant job changes." I work 3 jobs, and none of them are careers. There it was, the same poison he'd fed me my entire life. Not successful enough, not polished enough, not Whitmore enough. Meanwhile, his own son had crashed 2 luxury cars and gotten arrested twice. But apparently I was the disappointment because I rented a tiny apartment and worked freelance design jobs. The lawyer cleared his throat awkwardly. "There is also a non-disclosure condition attached to the amendment." I blinked. "A what?" Victor finally looked directly at me. "If you contest the trust publicly," he said softly, "you receive nothing." The room spun slightly. This wasn't just removal. This was calculated. Prepared. Planned. My grandfather would never do this. Never. Not the man who taught me chess at age 7. Not the man who snuck me candy during charity galas. Not the man who once told me, "You're the only Whitmore who sees people instead of dollar signs." Something was wrong. Terribly wrong. And deep down, I think everyone at that table knew it. Suddenly, the dining room doors opened. A housekeeper stepped inside nervously. "Mr. Whitmore is awake." Every head turned instantly. Victor stood too quickly. He shouldn't be disturbed. But the housekeeper looked confused. He asked for Elena. Silence. Real silence this time. I slowly rose from my chair. Victor's face had lost color. "That's impossible," he said sharply. The housekeeper swallowed. "He specifically asked for Miss Elena." My heartbeat thundered as I walked toward the staircase. No one stopped me. Not even Victor. Because for the first time all evening, he looked afraid. Grandpa's bedroom smelled like medicine and cedar wood. The lights were dim. Rain tapped softly against the balcony windows. He looked smaller than I remembered. Fragile. But the moment he saw me standing in the doorway, tears filled his eyes. "Elena," he whispered. I crossed the room instantly and took his hand carefully. His grip was weak, but urgent. "They told me you didn't want to see me," he said. My chest cracked open. No, I whispered. They told me you didn't want to see me. His eyes shut tightly. For several seconds, neither of us spoke. Then slowly, he looked toward the door to make sure it was closed, and whispered 5 words that turned my blood cold. I never changed the trust. I froze. What? His breathing became uneven. Victor brought papers, said they were hospital documents. I signed them. The room tilted around me. You think he tricked you? Grandpa looked horrified. Then he nodded. A chill spread through my entire body. Downstairs, my family sat drinking wine beneath crystal chandeliers while my grandfather lay upstairs realizing his own son had betrayed him. I squeezed his hand carefully. We can fix this. But Grandpa's eyes darkened with something deeper than fear. No, he whispered. You need to be careful. Footsteps echoed outside the hallway. Then, the bedroom door handle moved. And Grandpa suddenly gripped my wrist harder than I thought he could. Elena, he whispered urgently, there's something Victor doesn't know. The door began to open.